Good day. Good day, dear friend. Let us start off with a little bit of an affirmation here, a little bit of a prayer. You want to call it a prayer, that's fine. Remember that in the scheme of things, you are an insignificant little molecule, an ort, a speck, an absolute, uncritical aspect of a universe so immense, of an existence so complex, of a reality so deep and so mind-blowing, that whether you're here or not here, or whether you are here, doesn't matter. Do your best, leave a good mark, help yourself, but never take yourself seriously. Never take yourself seriously. Understand that one particular time, in one particular date, at one particular point in the future, yes, you too will die. What happens there is after you. It's up to you to decide. So I don't want to say enjoy this, but understand this is an assembly line. You are an insignificant little factory worker in this wonderful universe. Don't ever take yourself too seriously. Do not. Next, remember, you don't even begin to understand anything until you are in your 10,000th question. Somebody said it takes, 10,000 hours or what was it, to master something? I don't know what that. It's a very interesting thing. Let's look at this. I always had to keep my look. Sometimes have fun with math. 2, 3. No, that can't be. 10,000 hours, that doesn't make sense. That's 400 years. No, it's 400 days. Excuse me, 400 days. Yeah, okay. I don't know what the time frame of things are, but that calculation doesn't make any sense. I think it takes 10,000 questions for you to even roughly figure something out. And I can't tell you enough. Questions. Stop answering questions. Ask questions. Ask, what does this mean? What does this mean? Don't overcomplicate things. One of my dear friends, one of our great friends asked, do you think this Jack Schlossberg business might be some kind of a unique and weird form of kind of a complicit, dare I say, a conspiracy of sorts in which people might be, how do I say this, where is this wonderful piece here? I don't know where this is. Anyway, the question is, do you think this Jack Schlossberg, JFK's grandson, that this could be part of something? Remove yourself from overcomplicating the cabals of sorts, the conspiracies. By the way, remember, a conspiracy, I want to disabuse you of this belief that you have. A conspiracy merely means a confederation, an agreement between two people. That's all it means. That's all it means. It's just two people. That's all it means. It's just an agreement. It doesn't mean, it normally means you normally conspire to do something that is considered not good. I mean, there is a certain pejorative aspect to it where we think of a conspiracy as being not good. Like you don't conspire to fall in love and things like that. I guess you could, but don't look for that. Things are very, very simple. And please don't ever say Occam's razor. Remove, I guarantee you, if you use Occam's razor as part of your explication of anything, I promise you, you're probably wrong. You're using the wrong term. Do not say Occam's razor. Please do not. It's important that we start with these affirmations. It's important that we stop and we say, wait a minute, let's think about what we think. What are the articles of faith that we believe? Not what other people believe, but that we believe. What are we? Are we conspirators, conspiratoids? I like the word conspiracy because we will take it to a different direction. Just like Carlos Santana will always take music. If you listen to somebody, listen to Rick Beato speak about minor chords and pentatonics, and then hear Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana talks about things in terms of the spiritual, they're still valid, but one's on a different level, a different plane. I know other people always talk about the grace of the Lord, and that's fine too. There's not right or wrong. But we look a little bit differently. I am constantly rephrasing, rechanging, re-altering my way of looking at what I am seeing right now. And I have to remember that what I say this to is maybe 5% of the population will care what I'm saying, much less anything that is even remotely available. I like the complicated simplicity of things. I like things. I have these things I believe in. One of the most wonderful food things in the world is macaroni and cheese. When kids and adults love it, something happens. Something happens, this kind of primordial taste sensation where people will say, this is incredible. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Everybody likes this. This, like, wow. Sweet, savory, fatty. There's something to this. This is good. There is an evolutionary basis for this. Everybody believes it. Kids love macaroni and cheese. Everybody loves it. Adults, oh my God, it's perfect. We'll get into pizza later, but macaroni and cheese, everybody loves it. Cheese is something that's just this weird, I don't know what it is. And you can break this down all you want. I don't know. But the moment you start trying to ask yourself why, you lose yourself in the complexity of it. It's an amazing thing. You will never be able to understand. How does this happen? It just does. People think that life is so complicated. Isn't life a miracle? Is it really? Look around you. Does this look like a miracle to you? No? Is wind a miracle? Is light a miracle? Atoms a miracle? Dirt? Smell? Taste? Wind? Whenever we don't understand something, we call it a miracle. It could be the easiest thing in the world. Like, life is a given. It's a universal given. If you have the right situations, you will get it. It's just like, it's the strangest thing. If you've ever lived in an apartment or in a home where you've not opened the windows, let's say during winter time, and where does dust come from? Where's all this dust? It just is. It just shows up. Where does it come from, though? This has been closed. Where does dust come from? It's the strangest thing. You close the system. If you have a box and you seal it and you open it up years later, there's no dust in there. But yet there's dust in your... I don't know. It's just universal. There's this thing called dust. There's these things called... I don't know. Quit overcomplicating things. What was there? Do we have a purpose of life? Why do you think there's a purpose for life? Now you're getting romantic. Now you're getting into this cosmically poetic. Do you think this is fate? Was this meant to be? Where'd you get that from? Because you want everything to be beautiful and poetic and lyrical. You want there to be this wonderful story of how the glory and goodness and sometimes you're reading into that. It just happens. Things just happen. And that might be the miracle. So what I'm saying is, don't eliminate the possibility of there being something that's grand and mystical, but it doesn't have to be. Macaroni and cheese. I don't know why. It just is. People love this. It's the weird. It's like there's this. We're seeing something right now which is so fascinating. One of the most important elements, one of the most important teachers available today is a guy by the name of Joe Rogan, who can walk around with his tatted self. He can talk about Muay Thai. can't go through a sentence without effing this and effing this. And there was a lecture I listened to, I was listening to before, and it is number, for those of you keeping track, it is number 606 with Randall Carlson. And let me tell you why Joe Rogan is so important. Listen to me carefully. It was one of the most interesting stories about how warming on this planet is responsible. It completely refutes, confutes, confute? Is that even a word? Sparky says, do we seek harmony? Yeah, I guess. Very good. It's a good question. But just I want you to hear this. Carlson basically says warming is one of the greatest things that ever happened. Our sense of civilization, our sense of everything is responsible because primarily, okay. Warming. The climate change argument started off years ago with as follows. I don't know what year it was. It might have been 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I don't know. I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 people that said, we are going to change a narrative. And what we are going to, and by the way, this is just a working model. I don't have it. I don't have the transcript of this, but let me give you an idea. We have a working model of this. 3, 5, 10, 20 people came together and they said, we're going to create this thing. And we're going to start now by creating, we all set? Is that good for,
I see a few mistakes.
oh.
Just like that.
Can you, is it boldings or?
Yeah. Just like that.
Okay, should I, usual time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, don't you love this? Don't you love code? Mrs. L and I can talk in public, and you'll never know what we're talking about. You'll never know what we're talking about. We'll talk right in front of you, and you'll say, what are they talking about? And we're like communicating at levels you can't even imagine, which is scary. 10, right? Send it, what time?
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
Okay, 10, okay.
9, 10.
I'll do 9. All right, or 10, whatever. So years ago, they said we need to create this story. And the narrative is this. Through man's bilious, rapacious, insensitive boorishness, man has created this world in which I've got the man has created this horrid world in which, because of its consumption of whatever it is, the earth is getting warmer. I love this thing. It's my favorite toy. Dollar Tree. Now $1.50 tree. Anyway, or $1.25. And we have to save this. And that's the theory. And we'll never tell people exactly what it is that they have to do to save this. We're just going to tell them, first of all, that this is in dire need. Your world, 23-degree axis tilt. Your world is under attack. Your world is under attack. Your world is absolutely under attack. Your world. And we want to start with entertainment, children, schools. We will turn to our academics. They will issue a paper of sorts, and the official word they will say is 97% of all climatologists and science agree that the world is dangerously close to incineration, cessation, ending, dying, overheating, boiling, whatever you want to call it, whatever your gig is, whatever your thing. You understand what I'm saying? And that they will take this and it will start and we will send it out to our friends. And it will become part of the lore, part of the script, part of the narrative, part of the heuristic, part of the fable, the mythology, the belief, the religion, part of it all. And it will be this belief system. And we will start in schools, we will start on TV, we will start, it will be, we will give extra points. We will send the message out to all of our entrusted minions and acolytes and servants, our robots. Mr. Sparky says, why have both NASA and NOAA revised their historical climate data to match the climate change narrative? I think you just answered that question, my friend. I think you just answered that question. And I thank you for that. What is a belief system? What is a religion? What is faith? And as of tonight, we have people crying, screaming, yelling over this thing that this is coming to an end. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the biggest phony of them all. Notice how Bill Nye, the science guy, don't see him do it. You know what I'm very good at? I'm very good at to see what's missing. It's one of my few talents. I can walk in and say, you move that. That picture's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. This story changed. You know who we haven't seen lately? You know what song? This. We don't see this anymore. Or sometimes I'll see the addition of something, but I'm very good at seeing who's not in favor anymore. And for some reason, Bill Nye, the science guy, I don't know what happened. They just don't want him anymore. I don't know. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a joke and a sellout. Neil deGrasse Tyson had his own little kerfuffle years ago. Neil deGrasse Tyson had his own little whatever it is. He sat it out, and whenever somebody makes it back, I always suspect we're going to make a deal with you. This problem will go away, but a couple of things. You do what we say, and we'll make it up to you. Number one, you as a science person are never, ever, 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 ever going to see the Hubble, the Webb, nothing. You will lose all entree to anything if you ever so much as even hint that extraterrestrial life is legitimate, that it's real, that there's evidence. The moment you do, you're done. That went double for Sagan. You got that? The moment you say that, if you say that, just like if you are in the medical community and you say that there are more than likely cures for certain cancers that you will never find out because, just like with the electric car, the real electric car, or the car that runs on water or hydrogen, you're never going to hear about that. If you as a doctor say that, if you as a doctor today, and I thought these guys were bold, Jonas Salk my ass. These people have no guts at all. Spineless, scared, smart people. They got the memo. When we say this is it, you don't veer. Do you understand this? Whether it's pandemics, epidemics, viruses, if we ever hear that you go out, cardiologists in particular, and say that you can reverse heart disease with diet, or that we can change the course of certain pathologies with diet, if you poo-poo and kill surgery, intervention, stents, statins, whatever it is, you're through. You're done. Do you understand this? You're done. It's so easy for people in certain doctrines to be told, this is our accepted ideology and theology. Sparky says, remember Neil deGrasse Tyson went off script and complimented Trump on the Space Force, Neil was immediately Me Too'd. Well, you know, it's interesting. There was that time. It's very good. Neil, by the way, wants to be cool. He wants to be... Remember when he was with Chuck D or Chuck Nice or some... This horrible thing. You know who's also a big sellout too? Who just left? Michio Kaku just is at... He's on the back nine. Brian Greene. The scientists, these folks. And in any event, let me stop right now. Let me keep going. So Joe Rogan. Why is he the most important? Joe Rogan brings a childlike... and I mean this in the best ways possible, an absolute fascination over truth and science, and this sense of an allergy towards BS. He loves to completely destroy that which people believe to be accepted ideology. And I love that too. I love stories that people do not want to talk. I love this more than anything. I love the heretic. I love the person who comes along and says, wait a minute. We're not sure about what's going on. We're not sure about this. Wait. What exactly is the problem? What is it that we can't say? I don't know about this. That show does more to make people reassess, reapply. He is one of the most dangerous people around because, as you know, when something gets going and something gets started, it becomes almost a religion and a faith, and we don't like heretics. He is the most important person there is. You're going to have to also realize there are people in the world who frankly don't understand what we know. I think it is so incredibly horrible that Jack Schlossberg would refer to his cousin, his great cousin, his mother's cousin, Bobby Kennedy, who was the most important person involved in politics today. And he says, I know him. Jack Schlossberg is a sellout. He's a spine. He has no backbone. This is your family. And these people love to say, oh, this is our family. You do this to your family? To Bobby? If somebody sat down with Jack Schlossberg and said, let me ask you something. Let's talk about the legacy of your grandfather. Who killed your grandfather? You ever talk about that? Of course not. Because you've been told a long time, just like Wills and the rest of the royal family, we don't talk about Di, and you're not going to talk about him, or Bobby for that matter. We don't talk about this. You understand this? If you want to remain perpetually tethered and connected to the Democratic Party, you are not going to in any way veer from the official narrative. And don't you ever bring this up. Don't you ever talk about government complicity or anything. We don't do this. So one thing you got to understand about the deep state, they never talk about the government. They never talked about, they are the ones who stood behind George W. Bush in this fraud regarding 9/11 and Iraq and Afghanistan. Democrats doing it. Look at the Dixie Chicks. There are people who couldn't stand. Not when you get in the middle of war. War is a shadow government. It is a mutually appreciated form of coordinated and appreciated endeavor. Sparky says, Brian Cox is the UK version of Neil deGrasse, pushing the establishment science narrative. Oh, absolutely. Yes, they talk like this. He always has that perpetual, that shite-eating grin thing which drives me. He's into this. He is absolutely... The guy you got to watch, by the way, thank you, Sparky. The guy you got to watch is Eric Weinstein, who's basically going after the string theory. I love this guy. He is a complete heretic. Love it. Love it. He's my guy. He is so good. And watch Brian Green withers like a bug over a match. Now let's start off with this. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, first and foremost, who are we? I'm going to write something out. The Articles of Faith. Do you ever hear the, oh, by the way, the blinds, blind gossip, are so good. Are so good. I can't even begin to discuss this with you. Because YouTube does not want to go there. And I understand. It's their house rules. You ever heard about the Articles of Faith of the Catholic Church? I have a lot of respect for the Catholic Church. I'm a retired member, but I still remember this. And you have the Articles of Faith. There's 12. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, the only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the power of the Holy Spirit and born of the Virgin Mary. This is a Catholic Church. He suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. Pontius Pilate. Not the Jews, not the Sanhedrin. Pontius Pilate, the Romans. He descended into hell. The third day he rose from the dead. The hell Jesus descended into wasn't the hell of the damned, where Jesus and Christians believe. He was merely a word that Jews and early Christians used to describe the place of the dead. He ascended into heaven and the seat of the... Okay, blah, 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 blah. Those are the Articles of Faith. This is what you have to understand. Do me a favor. If you ever meet a Catholic, and they talk about how they're this and that, and start off with this. Do this. This is my patented pain in the ass intro. Dave, you're one of the brightest people I know. Always suck people into that. You read constantly. I know if anybody would know this question, you would, especially being a devout Catholic. What exactly is a Catholic? And what's the difference between a Catholic and a Protestant? And when somebody were to convert to Catholicism, what is it? You're Christians. When do you convert? And by the way, when did Jesus become a Christian? How is Jesus a Jew if Christianity is based on Jesus and Jesus is already there? The things that you do. And watch their faith. What interesting pun. Watch their face and watch their faith. They have no idea. They have no idea what they're talking about. None. What does this mean? What does that mean? I had an interesting question with somebody the other day. I said, what is your faith? He said, well, I'm an agnostic. I said, you're not an agnostic. What does that mean? You doubt? You're doubting something? Let me ask you a question. Do you speak French, yes or no? Either you do or you don't. Are you of faith, yes or no? There's no, well, I doubt it. No, you don't. You either believe it or you don't. And believe it doesn't mean believe it. It means understand it, accept it, acknowledge it, whatever it is. It's a word that we use incorrectly. Are you a Christian? I'm a Christian. Oh, so you're not a Jew? No. Oh, you're not a Muslim? No. So you don't what? You don't believe in Islam? Well, I don't. And people think believe in means I dispute it. I question its authenticity. That's what people think. I mean, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. You got it? You dig? It doesn't mean that. We don't think enough about what it is that we believe. So we need to start off with something. What do we believe in? What do I believe in? First thing, we don't believe in parties. Parties are a waste of time. Anytime somebody organizes a political party, you're done. You're finished. Forget it. You're done. You cannot possibly come up with a party that deals with what I believe in. We believe, and by the way, forgive me, non-Americans, but we believe in the Constitution. That's our Bible. We believe in the Constitution. And the Constitution can be subject to some disagreement. We understand that. The Constitution can be subject to some disagreement. But it's the Constitution. It's not the flag. It's not Old Glory. It's not the Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence is not. That's just like a formal, hey, we're out of here, with more details to follow. The Declaration of Independence is not of any source. It's a constitution. That's it. We have an understanding of some things that are difficult sometimes to apply. If you have this thing where government is bad, you're going to forever lose yourself. One of the greatest things that we ever did that defined and that transformed an entire population of people was the GI Bill. The GI Bill made education possible by virtue of a commitment to defend the country that changed the complexion, the tenor, the underlying intellectual undergirding of our society. Absolutely. Do you hear what I'm saying? In times of Rome and Greece, it was understood that the government paid for musea, architecture, art, poetry. It considered culture to be as much a part of the civilization as anything else. Sparky says, didn't Christianity begin as just another Jewish sect and gradually, perhaps unintentionally, separated from Judaism as it came to promise? Oh, dear God, don't say that in public. Nice try, Sparky. Don't even. Good luck with that one, my friend. Good luck with that one. Thank you. I think Constantine would a little bit to differ with you. But ask the question. And by the way, don't just ask it. Research it. Figure it out. So what do we do? Are we Reagan Republic? I don't know. Is government bad? No. Picking up garbage, lights, police, fire. We didn't have fire departments until the 19th century. Fire is in fire departments. This is critical. Critical. You don't like that? You don't want that? So anytime you try to, well, I love, because these people like this, Sean Hannity, old Reagan, and no, Reagan's good in parts, but no, I'm from the government. No, Milton Friedman, well, no, a lot of good stuff, but no, not really. I can't apply these. Libertarian. You've heard about the Mont Pelerin Society? This is the Hayek and Mises group. This is their Bilderberg group that basically deals with, their version. No. What do we believe in war? No war. None. We do not believe in imperialism. We do not believe in going around. I'm sorry. We do not believe in basically running the world. Now, this is going to be a big problem. You got people like Kissinger who says, you don't want to? No. You don't want to have 700 bases? No. I don't want to have military bases in different countries. I don't want to rule the world. Now, you might say, wait a minute, don't you want to rule the world? No. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go overtake. I don't want Iraq. I don't want Afghanistan. I don't want to steal their stuff. I don't want to take. Do you know that Afghanistan is the Saudi Arabia of lithium? Yes, I understand that. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want these pretend wars. And there's going to be wars for water. I've been talking about this for 30 years. Hydro-imperialism is going to be the next war, and we're going to be taking over places because of the water that they have. This is not who we are, which is another question. What are we? What are we about? What are we about? What are we about? Now, let me explain something to you. We are beholden to different people who are going after us. There are many, many ways that people die. Did you ever hear a story about, did you ever hear about this? Did you ever hear how Bob Marley died? Did you ever hear this? His toe. Did you ever hear this one? Bob Marley died from his toe. Bob Marley was diagnosed with acral lentiginous melanoma. which ultimately claimed his life. Knowing the warning signs of this rare form of melanoma, finding it and treating it. Legendary singer, it's called acral lentiginous melanoma. And this is basically a form of melanoma on his toe. And he was playing, he had some kind of a problem. Let me just read this to you. Listen to this. His final words to his son Ziggy were, "Money can't buy life." He had acral lentiginous melanoma, which is a form of skin cancer. He first discovered melanoma after playing football in 1977. A foot injury seemed worse than usual and got worse over time. After doctors discovered it was cancer, he was advised to have his toe amputated. However, he refused, as his Rastafarian faith considered it as a sin to have any part of the body, a temple, removed, and he agreed to a skin graft, but sadly, this didn't stop the disease. Okay. Bob Marley died from a melanoma in his toe. Think about this. And it's this, and the number of black people who've died from melanoma, the sole of their feet between their toes. Where the hell did this come from? You see? Sometimes things that are absolutely disastrous to the foundation, I mean, his brain, his heart, his kidneys, everything stopped, shut down because of a little on his toe, under the bed, under this what's this ungual? What is it? This little things, little weird. A seizure can set your thing off. A little blemish, a little something. And old people, do you ever see this? Somebody goes to a doctor, goes to the hospital. You have a relative, family member, goes to the hospital, has a little work done, has a UTI, some kind of a C. diff, or maybe some kind of UTI or some urinary tract infection. Next thing you know, there's antibiotics to give it. Then mom, dad starts to go crazy, acts weird. Things start shutting down. It's like, what is this? How does this happen? Sometimes little things cause everything to fall. That's our society. And that's why you always have to go and check everything. Not just government, not just newspaper stuff, not just families, but sometimes things like culture. The Barbie movie. I can't believe how people have missed the Barbie movie completely. And how women have absolutely given into this nonsense where they don't recognize the fact that and I still don't understand this, they don't recognize the fact that this is an attack on parts of our culture. So going back to my articles of faith, we have to pay attention to everything. And we only respond to things when there is an attempt by someone, something, some force, to destroy what ultimately is a foundation aspect of our culture, of our society, of our tradition. That's why I tell you, pay attention to Harry and Mara. Pay attention to the Barbie movie. Pay attention to Sound of Freedom. Pay attention to what's happening with Hollywood and strikes, and pay attention. It's not about whistleblowers. I mean, that's important, but it's everything. It's everything. The patient is our culture. The patient. Next, the government never tells you the truth. The government never tells you the truth. Never. It can't. Either because it doesn't want you to know, it doesn't think you should know, or it doesn't know how to explain it. Parents, for a good part of your life, your parents do nothing but lie to you. They lie to you about everything. Go to bed. Why? Because they just say things. Why? Whether it's Santa Claus or this, or fights your parents are having, or where you came from, or they always give you some version because you're a kid, because you don't know better. And plus, then they get into this stuff. Then they always just think you're a kid, and they figure, I can't start talking to them. I can't start saying things to them. I can't start. The government will never tell you the truth about Vietnam, will never tell you the truth about UFOs or JFK or anything. It cannot do that. And whether it's Trump, whether it's anybody, Trump may be better. Trump cannot tell you what it is he thinks. He can't. The government can't tell you the truth. It doesn't. It won't. Understand that. Period. Now, because it doesn't tell you the truth, there are some of us who say, it's not enough for me to recognize that. I must go a step further. There are some of us who enjoy the internecine battles and the conspiracies, as you would call them, and who is behind what, and the CIA, and the fact that there is I heard somebody say the other day, and whenever I hear this, the Israel lobby. I said, well, that's interesting. The Israel lobby. They have their own lobby? Yeah. Any other lobbies you have? What do you mean? The physicians lobby, the Defense Department lobby, Palestinian lobby, European lobby, the gay lobby, the LGBTQ lobby, the black lobby, the Republican lobby. You know what lobbies are? You know that too, right? So, because this fellow that I know of lives in his world, where his articles of faith is that, for example, Israel is always wrong. I'm not here to argue on behalf of Israel or against. I'm saying this person is always. I've got another friend of mine who thinks everything is the Bible. Everything is Jesus. Everything is Jesus. I've got another person I know who believes everything is Marxist. The reason for this is Marxist. AOC is a Marxist. Marxian. Because within certain groups, in order for you to gain acceptance in each pocket, you must have your own article of faith and say things that your friends will recommend. Sparky says, us younger boomers looked up to Bob Marley. He was sort of an icon. Well, I think he was. I thank you for that. He was very, very good. If ever there was a guy who was, and by the way, there were others, Peter Tosh, and before reggae, there was ska, and there was calypso, and there's other things as well. But remember, going back to what I said, thank you, Sparky. There were people, though, whatever your particular group. Somebody said today, well, this is a Christian country. I say, no, it's not. It's absolutely not. Well, in his world it was, and his friends say it was, and in their group of people it was. That's what they say. So recognize your article of faith, but the articles of faith of other people as well. Make sure you recognize what they believe. Understand their point of view. Next, be accepting of disappointment. Disappointment is one of these things that you are going to be disappointment. What's it called? Yes, Jimmy Cliff. Remember Peter Tosh? Who was it? And by the way, the Rastafarians, the whole Rasta, the food, the diet is wonderful. Real, very, very, very plant-based, very, very. When I get done with you after my boot camp, you are going to be an independent spirit. That is your ultimate goal. Just like in communism is the ultimate. It's the It's nirvana for socialism. It's the ultimate. You seek it. You never attain it. I want you to have total and complete spiritual independence. Complete and total spiritual independence. Complete and total and absolute spiritual independence. That's what I want. I want you to be of no party, no creed. You don't know where. You listen to what people say. You listen to the particular stories being advanced, and you act accordingly. You do not, repeat, you do not accept or reject something merely because it was advanced or suggested by somebody that you a priori have eliminated. If I ever told you that I would be a Bobby Kennedy supporter, I would have probably thought not, but the circumstances have changed. John Maynard Keynes said, when the facts change, I change my mind. Don't let your personal feelings get in the way of something bigger. I don't particularly like Tucker Carlson. I don't want to know Tucker Carlson. I'm not interested in him. I don't have to like people. I've got enough friends. I don't care about that. It's not why I'm like him. What he represents is very important. He is pulling people away from this right mentality. He's making a lot of people think for the first time, which is terrific. There's a lot of things that Bernie Sanders did, which I admire. Not him, but what he said. Rand Paul and Ron Paul. Ron Paul says not everything, some things. Bobby Kennedy is pulling him to the left. I've got somebody, a friend of mine said, I can't believe what Bobby Kennedy goes. What he said about gun control. I said, well, you're an idiot, and you're just an idiot. And somebody who's morbidly obese, I'm not going to go into that. Well, it says I can't eat bacon. If I can't eat bacon, I say, well, then you're an idiot. You're just an idiot, so I don't have time for you. So don't get into this personality stuff. Don't worry about whom you like. I don't know what that means. I have no, the people that you would probably like. Somebody told me one time, they were at a party. Not a party, but at an event. And a lot of the servers, like the bartenders and waiters and waitresses, found out that George Bush was coming. George W. Bush, W. And they know they were going to quit. This is a while back. And they were going to quit and all this stuff. If you quit, you never come back and work here again. And you're going to treat him with respect. They loved him. He was one of the nicest people, one of the most genuine people. They loved him. Even though his politics. So don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the two. And remember one thing. Take it from me when I tell you this. If there's one thing I know is true, until you meet somebody, you have no idea what they're about. Don't ever let anybody tell you. Somebody that you would like or whatever it is. Tony Bennett was a great performer. But as a person, as an individual, I don't know how great he was. A lot of people out there say, well, we're not really crazy about Tony Bennett. But you don't have to be. What he did musically was what's important. Don't confuse people that you think you like with people that you, whatever. Do you think necessarily Trump is a loving and warm and cuddly guy? I don't know. What difference does it make? I don't care about that. That's all. That's all. Sparky says, 3 Little Birds is a great tune to wake up to. Give a person a better attitude for that day. Then they may have had otherwise. You know what? You are correct about that. That's why every day I start off my important thing, is I always start off in the morning with music and with my Spotify selection, and I hear it, and it sets when I see it's pitch black when I wake, and it's the way I see the sun come up, and it just sets me. Music is that is my emollient, that is my drug, that is my sedative, that is my anxiolytic. Absolutely. It's my religion. It's my everything. I mean it. It's the most. Not literature, not TV, not movies, not other than my wife. No. It is it. It is it. It is it. It's anthemic. It makes the world, it reminds me that there's goodness in the world. And there is. Now, whether man is good or bad, I'll let you figure this out. I think not really. Because our definition of good is somebody who's not bad. My friends, I want to thank you for this. Tonight, we have an engagement later today, which will disallow me and prevent me from being there. But we'll be back tomorrow morning, same bad time, same bad channel. Have a great and a glorious day. Let me also ask you, my friends, please, another thing too. I just banked a slew of stories and issues that I like to talk about. YouTube is a wonderful place. YouTube is a great place. YouTube allows me to speak to more people than I ever thought possible. YouTube, social media in general, they have rules about certain subject matter. And that's fine. I understand. House rules. Some places you got to wear a tie, I guess. At least they used to. Maybe not anymore. Maybe whatever it is. This is my private channel. And there's a couple of things going into which I can talk about from the deep, dark recesses of things in subject matter. And it's not because of language. Because if you know me, I have no problem with a well-placed F-bomb if it accentuates, if it does something to promote the story. But that's the way I think of. That's all. That's the different version. I also have a newsletter. A newsletter which went out Friday. I'll resend it Monday. Sign up for this. It gives you a kind of a review of a lot of things in numbered form, kind of bullet points for you to just kind of review and think about. Tony Bennett didn't want to sing a Hank Williams tune. Oh yeah, because he felt he was above singing hillbilly songs. Cold Cold Heart made him a star. And he also, remember, Tony Bennett, Sparky, was drug-addled, and I think he was really bad. And his son, Tony, or something, no, he's Tony. His son, whatever, reformulated his career and connected him with like the Red Hot Chili Peppers or whatever it was. So in any event, he goes to show you that you can always reconnect and revitalize. Tony Bennett was great singer. He really was. Absolutely. That's it. His artwork, but that's okay. The fact that people, artwork is not necessarily saying I'm a great artist. It's like, this is the way I speak. Herb Alpert is a sculptor, and what do I know? But God bless somebody for finding some form, some avenue of expression and the like. And finally, one more thing. Mrs. L has a YouTube channel, which I want you to be a part of and subscribe. She talks about subjects that are so good, and here it is. There it is right there. So that's it, my friends. You have a great and glorious day. Let me tell you right now, we love you from the bottom of our heart. We love the fact that you join us every day, that you are part of this endeavor. I thank you for that. I wish you nothing but greatness today. Have a safe and a great and a clean and a wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Live longer. That's all. Stop eating the wrong stuff. I'm not proselytizing. I did it. You can do it too. It's simple. All right, friends. Have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.